for all his hard work to make this possible, but also to thank the panelists, including Serigne Mamadou Inspector, Professor Morfai, Sohna Maguette Silla, Sam Busso, and the audience, but also to thank the people in Touba who have helped me as a murid from Casamas to learn more about Serigne Touba. And these include Serigne Sam Nyang, Serigne Mahmoud Nyang, Serigne Baingiran of Diourbel, and Serigne Massokhna Lo of Diourbel. What I want to do is to talk about Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba's teaching philosophy, the guiding principles of his ethics-centered education system. According to Murid sources, Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba advocated practical and experiential ethical education for all people, because he believed that cultivating model ethical conduct was the main purpose of Islam and the precondition for spiritual and social well-being. He had devoted his life to create an education system that was rooted in ethics. His father, Momar Antasali, had served as a Muslim judge and advisor to King Lat Dior Ngonelati Diop until his death in 1883. Bamba started a bold reform of the Islamic education system of his time, which culminated in the foundation of his muridiyya Sufi movement. He thought that many clerics of his time did not uphold the ideal constructive role of Muslim leaders in society, and their Islamic education system also failed to produce model ethical Muslims as directed by Islam. Muslims who were racially unprejudiced and selflessly committed to social stability, spiritual illumination, and justice for all people, especially for the marginalized masses. In his view, society was morally ill and had to be cured. So for him, Yonu Murid, or the Murid way, was the appropriate, lasting solution for the situation. Not long after his father's death in 1883 in Mbacké Kadior, Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba convened his small group of followers and made his first and most important proclamation. He told them that he was no longer going to offer traditional book-based education, dubbed Njangum Tere in Murid parlance. According to Muhammad Lamin Diop Dagana, in Irwanul Nadim fi Azb Hub al-Khadim, the new form of education he proposed would specifically cultivate himma, inner strength, zeal, and spiritual vitality designed to lead people to spiritual illumination and fulfillment of their worldly and otherworldly matters. Bamba believed that the development of himma was not restricted to the class of the ulama, the learned scholars. He believed that anyone could attain spiritual enlightenment and flourish. To understand the dynamism and resilience of the muridiyya today, it is vital to understand the significance of the concept and the reality of himma in Bamba's thinking. The Sufi concept of himma is central in the Murid doctrine and education. The traits of himma are rendered in Murid sources with many words. These include farlu, dynamism, ligay, work, both physical and intellectual. pastef, determination, or paspas, steadfastness. The muridiyya itself, the muridiyya itself is the muridiyya itself is referred to internally as yoonu farlu, the path of dynamism, yoonu pastef, the path of determination, or yoonu paspas, the path of steadfastness. Bamba taught his followers these himma-derived virtues: inner strength, willpower, resilience, optimism, self-sufficiency, and perseverance in the face of challenges. Muhammad Lamin Diop Dagana notes that the early Murids surpassed their peers because of their developed himma. They had become so committed that they were prepared to make enormous sacrifices far greater than their contemporaries. The education Bamba provided his followers included a central ethical component that could not be learned from a book dubbed Njangum Tere. It had to be experiential. By channeling the energy of the masses through the cultivation of their himma, Bamba transformed the masses from a confused, pessimistic, and powerless multitude into an organized, optimistic, and powerful force. According to Serigne Mbaye Nguirane, it was because Bamba's message was customized to accommodate the needs of the people that he attracted crowds. In the same way, a bright light attracts insect in darkness. Most of the early Murids were uneducated adults who had passed the age of attending traditional Quranic schools, and many were in the lower strata of society: slaves, freed slaves, casted people, former slave owners, ostracized former crown soldiers defeated by the French colonial administration. As Babu notes in his book, Fighting the Greater Jihad, the time-honored Islamic education system, controlled by the Domi Sokhna, the learned class, could not accommodate the social and spiritual needs of the disciples. Bamba sought to address social inequalities and to accommodate the needs of the masses with an ethic-centered pedagogy. He believed that those who have unwavering faith in God and demonstrated jikko yu rafet, beautiful ethical virtues, would necessarily experience success in this life and the next, what the Murids call Sa'adatu Darain. Bamba was highly optimistic and taught optimism to his followers. Rafet Njort, beautiful hope or optimism, regardless of the situation, was central to his teaching. In his view, no one was beyond rehabilitation. Everyone had a chance to flourish. He believed that Murid education could cure the ills of society by teaching people how to activate their positive inner strength through exemplary ethical conduct. From a pedagogical point of view, Bamba was an innovative and practical educator. His teaching philosophy was grounded in two key Sufi goals: taghliya, removing the flaws of the heart; tahliya, adorning the heart with ethical virtues. He created 3 types of schools and made ethics the cornerstone of his pedagogy to accommodate, manage, and train the diverse and large crowds that came to him. He formed Darai al-Quran, Quranic schools, Daaray Khamkham knowledge schools, and Daaray Tarbiyya ethical and spiritual vocational schools. He interviewed new disciples to evaluate their needs, abilities, and potential before sending them to one or three of the three schools and matching them with a jawrin, a unit leader, who could train and help them flourish. These were innovative in the traditional Islamic education system of his time. He ordered all his followers to cultivate knowledge and morality, especially yar ak tegin, civility and discipline, and to study the Quran. No one ever stayed with Bamba without having a task. Bamba did not like laziness. He noted in Masalik al-Jinan that those who had died wished they had the opportunity to return to this life for even a short moment to perform extra work that could benefit them when they return in the afterlife. The Dar al-Tarbiyya served as both educational institutions and as a crowd management strategy. They were tailored to the needs of the uneducated adults. Sheikh Ibrahim Afal performed the groundwork for these schools when he joined the movement in 1883 in Mbacke Kajoor. He led the first full-fledged Dar al-Tarbiyya in Darus Salam in 1886. It was through these activities of the Dar al-Tarbiyya that many uneducated adults who came to the movement as non-Muslims learned about the ideals and teachings of Islam and practiced the values of the muridiyya. They were trained to become Muslims who would be successful and productive members of their society. Disciples learned all the practical skills, including how to master the local ecosystem. This would be important for people interested in agriculture and ecology. This included learning about the animals in the area and how to deal with them, how to build one season and lasting huts and fences, how to build granaries and effective farming techniques. Even the disabled were taken care of in the Dar al-Tarbiyya, and the mentally ill were socialized and assigned tasks within the homes of their unit leaders, the Jawrins, before gradually being integrated into working units and on farms. Each sickness of the heart, Ragi Kholyi, was treated with a particular task. Thus, sometimes disciples who suffered from Ray, arrogance, were sent to beg until they acquired humility. Begging was therefore an important pedagogical tool to cure the sickness of arrogance. Those who suffered from nay, cupidity, could be tasked to work hard and to give away their gain selflessly for the sake of God, until they achieve a state in which richness and poverty meant the same to them. Those who were lazy and lacked work ethic might be required to work in groups where they had no choice but to work like their peers. When disciples graduated from these schools, they were well prepared to face the challenges of the outside world. When disciples completed the Tarbiyya phase, they moved to the second level of spiritual education called Tarqiyya. While cultivating the core ethical virtues of the movement remained critical for success in this stage, the focus shifted to spiritual elevation. The obstacle they had to overcome here include the four enemies of the soul: Satan, Bannekh, unrestrained love of worldly pleasures, bakkan, unrestrained lower self, and aduna, unrestrained love of earthly life. After the tarqiyya phase, disciples move to the final tasfiyya level. Because they had had an abnormal life, a challenging one during the previous phases, the tasfiyya level was designed to re-socialize them into their communities. This is how Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba's education system attempted to fix society and mended his followers, what the Wolof would call defar talubi. According to Serigne Baingiran, Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba's education made his disciples non-violent, hardworking, vigorous, resolute, determined, and immune to discouragement and adversity. Therefore, they succeeded and excelled in whatever project they undertook. The mosque called Masalik al-Jinan in Dakar, the Sheikh al-Khadim University under construction, and several successful Murid projects in the past are testimonies to the economic independence of the muridiyya and the effectiveness of the virtues that Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba taught to his followers. In conclusion, Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba has left us with an excellent model of education that can produce new generations of self-sufficient and successful, positive individuals. His educational ingenuity and virtues that his Wolofal scholars, such as Serigne Moussa Ka, Mbaye Jaxate, Samba Diarra Mbaye, and Mor Kairé have translated for the masses, offer important educational resources that can help to address our current educational, social, economic, and developmental challenges. Finally, I conclude by wishing well Serigne Muntaha Mbacké as he leads the development of the Sheikh Ahmadul Khadim complex, which can be a place where students around the world come to learn the fine virtues that Sheikh Ahmadu Bamba taught, so that they become active agents in the development and construction of peace and prosperity in Senegal, Africa, and the world. Thank you very much for your attention. And I give the floor to the moderator, Sëñ Sambuso.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup, professeur Fallou Ngom. Vous avez bien campé